Hello, and thanks for tuning in as we continue getting started with GitHub Copilot. In our last video, we got a high-level overview of what the tool is, how it's used, and some cool things about it, as I even provided you those links that you could go and explore if you had an opportunity. In this lesson, in this video today, it's actually going to be about getting our hands dirty and getting this thing installed. So let's do it. I can go ahead and exit this and say, hey, you're going to want the VS Code extension for GitHub Copilot. Is one of the best ways to get it. Just do a Google search. And once you do a Google search, then it will bring up the page. It's, of course, is verified. It comes from GitHub. It's owned by Microsoft, which owns Copilot and is a serious investor in OpenAI. They're all together. So this is absolutely one way to get it. Another way to get it would be just open up your VS Code. If you see that right here, this is a VS Code that we've been working with. It's the code, or it's the coding samples that I've been developing that should be available for you as you're working through this course. And we're right here at the 3.2 getting started. And if I wanted to, I could just come over here to my extensions. I'm in my Windows machine. It says Control-Shift-X, but open extensions, and I will type, hey, just Copilot, right? And there it is, GitHub Copilot. I will install. And if this is your very first time installing it, then it may ask you to go and log in. But it looks like we're all good. I'm going to actually just restart my VS Code, come back to extensions, and look at my Copilot. GitHub Copilot, and I think it should be working. Okay, and how can you tell if it's working or not? It's pretty easy. You can actually come over here and let's just select any bit of code. This is something we did from our ChatGPT session, but I can come over here and select it, and I'm going to hold down Control Enter. And boom, we know the VS Code extension is working because it says GitHub Copilot and it's trying to synthesize some solutions. I think it's going to have trouble synthesizing a solution there because this is actually a working API endpoint. I mean, it could potentially return something, but I don't want this to be a spoiler for all of the things that GitHub Copilot can do. We could say here, and just getting started, we'll create like an index.js, and let's type like, hey, return, or say, hey, log in the console a hello world message, right? And then once you've given that, now we hit Control Enter because you've given it some prompt in pseudocode. And now it should synthesize some solutions. You see it spinning down here. There we go. Okay. And this isn't handy. This is not. Okay. Just hey. All we want is a console log hello world. Let's try that again. Oof. Control Enter to synthesize some solutions. And it could be because it's trying to take all of this other stuff that we've done in these directories into context and say, oh, you can't want something so simple. Everything else has had all of this stuff. Look, it's even talking about videos and routing. Like, it can tell I'm doing some educational stuff. So we're going to poke it in the right direction. We're just going to say console log hello world. And then we're going to cd navigate to this getting directory and say node index.js. Okay, so we know it's working now. And then like let's name variables for numbers 1 through 10. Const 1, now it's working. Yeah. 2. And if we didn't want to hit it line by line by line, then we could certainly come over here and control enter, and it's going to have a much easier time synthesizing these solutions now because we've given a lot more context. But that was an interesting hallucination. And see, there we go. And see, now it's given us suggestion number 1, where we start with 5 and then continue 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we even have a sum of the numbers where we're logging the numbers and all of this great example. I'm just going to accept that solution. That looks pretty good. Format it, boom, and then now I come down here, node index.js, and it's given us a full lesson where we've added variables together, logged the total, first the name of the variables, log that variable. It's given its own practical demonstration from top to bottom. And if we wanted to, we could continue to probably generate some coding samples where it's going to like be naming things. It's kind of going off the rails. So here like 1, 2 equals 1 and logging 1 of 2. You get how this could be a little, it's obviously a little loony and not nearly as impressive as ChatGPT 4 just out of the box. And until you get to later stages where you're using unit testing like Jest and other things like that, and also within the code and the project that you've been feeding it information, it will make a lot more sense. But yeah, I still feel like that was a pretty good demonstration of not only how powerful it can be, but also how wrong it can be. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this lesson about getting started with ChatGPT. In our very next lesson, we're going to be generating some dummy data that will be rendering out. We did a little bit of that here, but we're going to be more specific about it and how we name it and how we want GitHub Copilot to parse that out for us. Hope to see you there. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.